Hello everybody, it's Ben Cooper here from Literacy Waggle, and I'm here to talk to you today about Take a Risk Tuesdays. Take a Risk Tuesdays in May is all about giving teachers a chance to just do something a bit crazy in lessons, have a bit of fun, but also just innovate your teaching practice. It's not about getting everything right. In fact, it's probably more about getting things wrong. But from those moments, from these challenges over this month of May, you should hopefully develop your teaching practice and learn something a little bit different about, one, how you deliver your lessons, and also how the children like to learn as well. So, I'm going to take you through the 4 challenges in May, and they've all got a name, and I'd love you to take part. So, each challenge has a name. So, introducing lesson number 1. This is called the question lesson, and it's basically a challenge for you to teach an entire lesson, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, just by asking questions, not giving instructions, not saying anything else other than asking questions. And this one is really about developing the children's independence, developing how the children can think of themselves, because too often the children ask a question and we want to just answer it straight away for them. But sometimes actually that doesn't develop that independence in those children. So I'm going to encourage you as teachers to see if you can teach a whole lesson by not answering questions, but by asking questions. How can we deliver instructions by asking questions? How can we get the children to think for themselves? And how can we get children to answer their own questions by actually flipping the question back on them? So that's challenge number 1. Introducing challenge number 2. This is the naked lesson, and no, it doesn't involve taking your clothes off in the classroom. What it actually means is actually a lot of our time as teachers is spent making resources and jazzing up the whole lesson, often spending far too much time on what is eventually just going to be an hour's worth of learning. So we're going to challenge you as teachers to see if you can deliver a lesson without making any resources whatsoever. Now, this is all about getting you to think about how you can use the children to develop their own resources. So if you're doing a writing lesson, rather than making jazzy vocab sheets and images, why don't you set them a task prior to that to gather vocabulary at home? Why don't you build in other lessons a chance for them to make vocabulary sheets, a chance for them to gather creative resources, so that in that lesson, all the resources that are there have been completely child-led and child-created. So let's say, one, it saves you time as a teacher, but also, again, it throws all the ownership back to those children who take charge of their learning, and actually, you may actually see some benefits of that at the end of your lesson. So, if you think you're up for the naked lesson challenge, then give it a go. Okay, challenge 3, the inside-out lesson. Quite often or not, since the 90s, people have kind of stuck to a similar formula for lessons. They've done an introduction, a warm-up, a kind of teacher input where you deliver the new learning, a main activity where the children get to go and apply it, and then a kind of plenary, a kind of recap on the lesson. But I'm actually challenging you as teachers to see if you can do that inside out. So take the middle of a lesson and put that at the beginning. So rather than doing the main activity in the middle of a lesson, why not start with that main activity? See what happens. See if the children get to grips with it. See what misconceptions the children have, and then actually teach and do your input based upon what you've noticed from your assessment across that classroom. Because more often than not, actually, you'll find the children can do a lot more than you expected. And you show that progress, and the progress comes from you actually intervening on those children making those mistakes. Teach at the point of when children are making mistakes, opposed to trying to preempt that, because sometimes you preempt things that aren't actually accurate. So if you think you fancy doing the Inside Out Challenge, then give the Inside Out Challenge a go in your lessons sometime in May. And finally, the 4th challenge, the silent lesson. I think this one possibly might be the most difficult for us teachers, because we do like to talk. But I'm going to challenge you out there to see if you can teach a whole lesson without saying a word. And again, this is about getting those children developing that independence. See if you can scaffold the entire learning, see if you can scaffold all the activities so that children can actually be completely independent. and access those activities without you having to say a word. If they need some input, how can you use other children in the classroom to develop each child's learning? How can you push learning on without actually saying a word? And we know one of the classic things of lesson observations is too much teacher talk. So let's see if we can get rid of teacher talk completely. Okay, so those are the 4 challenges. We're hoping to do them for the whole month of May. So take a risk Tuesday, see if we can do them in the middle of the week, give it a go. And we'd love to know how you're getting on. Give us some feedback on one of our social media pages. Create a video back, a video diary, and send it to us. We'd love to see how you're getting on. And these challenges aren't about this is the right way to teach, this is how you should teach, so you should never speak, but actually it's getting you to challenge yourself and find out what your children perhaps can do that you didn't know they could do, because perhaps you're getting a bit too involved in lessons and trying to kind of lead the lesson a bit too much. And sometimes as a teacher, it's just worth taking a step back and letting your children get on with something and seeing what they can do without your input. So these challenges are about just taking a complete risk in a lesson, seeing what happens. If it goes completely wrong, that doesn't matter, you'll learn something from it. And so let us know how you're getting along and enjoy the challenges. Take a risk Tuesdays throughout the month of May. Good luck.